Aboriginal people probably had names for all sorts of places.
When a volcano erupts, it will throw things out.
Each day it would draw like hundreds and hundreds of lines.
The land was formed because there was a place called Gondwana and the sea came in and formed the shape of our, as we know today, Australia. It's formed the shape of the land.
You know, it just feels like we're losing the feel of Australia because everything's just going.
Us coming up as adults and teenagers, I think that we need to help protect the Merri Creek and its surroundings a lot better than it is now.
We need to show that the Aboriginals, that we, the Indigenous people, that we can care, that what we've done before, stolen, destroyed the native wildlife, we can at least try to reverse it.
It's really a project about investigating their local area and to understanding the history of it in a lot more depth, I think, and to try new art materials and new ways of making and thinking and exploration.
The idea was to focus on the local creek area and to look at it from the perspective of geology, Indigenous history, have a look at its botanical history and to kind of understand it in deep time.
It's involved 360 kids at Spensley Street Primary School, and they've been involved in various art projects and walks down to the Merri Creek.
Its strength was that it involved so many people, so teachers and artists all brought their ideas, and then of course ultimately the kids brought their ideas, which was what the whole point was.
I wonder what it would be like if the creek itself could speak almost, or if it could draw, if it could create art.
Nature can draw a picture, but it's kind of like it's a picture by the person who set up the machine, but it's also by the water or the wind.
Artists have been coming in, have been teaching us about the Merri Creek, and I think that it's important that we use those surroundings that we've been learning about.
We got to learn heaps about all the history of the Merri Creek, and we got to kind of, you know, love nature and stuff. It was really fun.
The pen goes around and round, and the board goes around and round. You can see here the wire and the
Pencil on the end, and the pencil will just go by the way the water was turning the sort of wheel.
And then it went up a wire and made the pen move with it.
And we saw that how like the little complicated part worked along and just like sort of drew the big picture. And it was really amazing.
Yeah, I was just so impressed with the kids, you know, how willing they were just to sort of let themselves into that experience. And I don't know if magical is the right word, but it was just a wonderful day.
Melbourne's the only city in the world made out of bluestone. So, we'll head upstairs, and what a great place for music, eh?
Well, we had a fantastic guide for the Indigenous walks, an expert called Maya Edelson, who talked about a whole range of things, the history of the area, but also what you could eat, how Indigenous groups would have lived there, and
how they built stuff and how they drew.
How do they hunt and where they hunt?
He carried a blue-tongue lizard in his bag, which was such a wonderful surprise for them, and they got to paint their faces with ochre. When we came back from the walks, we were looking at a way of deepening our understanding of the local area, and we thought about the kids making tanderum sticks. They all thought about a place that was precious to them, and then to make an object that would fit in the hand that could be offered with markings that perhaps related to the place that they were thinking about, that offered someone else as a gift It was interesting to talk with the kids about how in our culture we give an object and you keep that, that's the present. But in fact, a message stick or a tanderum stick provides time in the most precious thing, which is country.
Even though we don't know a lot about them, and some people just think they just like hunted food and that was it, they actually had heaps of like really complicated little culture systems, just like we do sort of now.
It happened later in the project, so the kids had already done a lot of walks, and it involved them looking at a variety of different maps, historical maps and current maps, but we were looking at the maps in terms of not just information but visually, so for visual cues, so looking at shapes, looking at form, structure, and the idea was that they were to come up with their own map. It was to create a sense of, for them, what deep time was, so whether it was enjoying outside or whether it was an internalisation or whether it was using elements of the maps as well. Then what we did was to put all of the pages together, so that's 100 pieces of paper that were concertinaed together to make a huge big map that just wound its way through the multi-purpose room. It was fabulous to see the way that they used technology, because we used old projectors. They had a new way of looking at things and things that I would never have expected. So using the windows and taking only sections, they were great. They just came up and they were inventive. They poured ink onto the paper, let it run. They did all these things. So you get a sense that it's chance and also it's controlled. The map was really about them being individuals as part of a group, as part of a class, as part of a broader community, and how they then fit themselves within the world. So I sort of saw it as a great metaphor for our connection to community.
She could see the shape when she was going out this side, but then when she gets to here, she's like, what? Where's it gone? Because she's in the light, okay?
In response to their walks, we then created a big studio experience. We encourage children to explore materials and also be aware of the fact that sometimes the art that you make doesn't work out, and that's okay, and that's part of the art making process.
So the kids have done a lot of making of sculptures out of different materials, lots of natural materials, and just arranging them in a certain way, looking at it, talking about it, and then we pull it apart again.
So we did explain the meaning of ephemera when we talked to the children about what they were doing with materials and how that was different to a sculpture or painting that might be held onto forever if it was looked after. It freed them up to be able to create and recreate and to make different decisions about their artwork and redo things.
One of the beautiful workshops that artist Annie Green did with the Prep 2 groups was that she had collected a number of beautiful, simple materials, and each of the children sat down and had just quite a short time to make an arrangement with those materials before it would change and they would move to the next section where the materials were different. They were so absorbed in what they were doing, and in a sense, nothing can go wrong. It's completely free.
I've had parents comment on the fact that their children now use that in their play and it helps them to get over disappointments.
I love the fact that there is a word to describe art that can be fleeting or even just an experience that's momentary.
So it seemed really appropriate to use ephemeral forms in relation to this natural environment, which being a city creek, there's been some damage and so forth, but the artist doesn't create more of that, one would hope.
The Bluestone project was a project that we did straight after one of the walks. We took the kids on an art walk and we got them to paint bluestone, as there's the local rock of the area, basalt, and we got them to paint them blue. We wanted to change the medium of the rocks, and each kid got given 5 rocks. And we did a discussion about ephemeral sculptures and the way that you can use that to create happenings in terms of throwing them up or into water. And then they were allowed to play with where they were going to place those and take photographs. So some of them might have been in circular mandalas, others were throwing them into the air, other kids were jumping, they were arranged in trees, all sorts of different things. And then we did a flash mob at the school. The whole school at lunchtime just heard this groovy music going, what's going on? And then all of a sudden all the stones were being placed. One of the little kids said, oh, it just looks like the labyrinth down at the creek. Is that what this is about? And, you know, it could be. It was great.
Fresco means fresh in Italian, and in order for something to be permanent, you need to be working on fresh plaster. So every surface had to be prepared before it could be painted on. So there was a lot of waiting around, a lot of technical limitation, but they really took it on and learnt what was involved, and that was beautiful to watch.
I've done over on the wall, I've done a moon and a tree, and I had to do my tree a few times. I did most of them in Sgraffito, and it's when you layer the plaster and then the plaster paint on top and scratch it out, and it has a really cool effect.
So we did 2 permanent walls, and we also did 140 bricks. We did it full time for about 4 weeks, and our collection of bricks grew and grew, and the kids dreamt up ever new ways of using the materials that I had laid out. Definitely went far beyond what I had showed them initially. The best thing about doing fresco with the kids is that, you know, it's a medieval technique, and it's very, it's always been done in a particular way. But of course, they came up with ideas that I never would have thought of.
I loved kind of making and, you know, sketching the little pictures in and being really intricate with all the designs.
They used colours and techniques and applications with just tremendous enthusiasm. So it was very exciting. I felt I never knew what was going to happen next.
The Willow Structures was a project that was initiated, an idea by Alexander Knox, a sculptor, who came and gave a workshop with the kids as to how to make and use willow and attach it. And then I facilitated workshops beyond that with the kids. We got the kids into random groups. We didn't let them select where they were going to be able to go. And they've acquired skills where they've had to collaborate and to modify and change and to make these sort of freestanding structures, which are to be dotted throughout the school for the Prep 1-2s to play with.
I'll just strengthen this.
Yeah, that needs strengthening.
If you see a tree, you can suddenly just picture those different parts and put them together to make something really different and interesting.
So there was a great sense of ownership and also being quite proud of the fact that they were making something for younger kids. And so these dwellings ended up being quite elaborate with weaving and string and paper bark, a whole lot of things like that. So they ended up being sort of dotted throughout the school grounds. It's been great because kids who don't normally work together have had to then collaborate and to find new ways and new solutions to which to solve problems, and they've also had to finish the project as well, so it was quite labour intensive.
The Deep Time project shows us, it exemplifies what we are, who we are as a community, because we have all worked together on this project. We've had artists and teachers and students.
And with a huge, amazing plethora of work that's been created, learning that has occurred, this isn't your normal artists and schools program. The arts isn't just about the visual, it's not just about the physical, it is about the other learning that can occur, the science that you're learning from walking up Merri Creek, the history that you're getting. Such a fabulously creative school, you guys are lucky.
I learned a lot about how Cameron Robbins made his artwork. I made a paintbrush kind of.
I made a boat and like a sort of rafty sort of thing.
Fresco is made with lime putty.
Learning about the different types of trees around the native area was my favourite part of it.
Woody watermelons and water lilies or something else, because I don't like orchardy grubs. Hi, my name is Lucas and I'm in grade 4.
Hi, my name is Maeve. I'm in grade 4 at Spensley Street.
Hi, my name is Luca and I'm in grade 3.
Hi, I'm Nina and I'm in grade 3.
Hi, my name is Zach.